Hey everybody, it's 12 o'clock. Welcome back to the channel. Appreciate you tuning in. As always, hit that like button, subscribe, all that good stuff. Today I'm here to help you learn how to wheelie. And now I can't really teach you how to wheelie because there's a key component that goes into wheeling that I just can't teach. That key component is balls. Basically what it's going to come down to is you having the balls to send it. I mean, that's what you're going to have to do. So what I'm going to go over today is just basically what I would tell you if you came to the lot and asked me for pointers. And of course I have to say that this video is for entertainment purposes only. The key components to wheeling is basically the clutch, the throttle, and the brake. Those are the three key components. And power wheeling and just hitting the throttle and just getting it up there, you will have no control over that. So we're not going to do that today. We're going to do clutch ups. So the first thing you want to do is find you an open road with nobody around. Obviously we're out here in Mexico today, just us and these cows. What's up, cow? So yeah, clutch, throttle, brake. Don't be doing power wheelies. When you goose it, if you're just racking the throttle and getting it up there, you don't have any control over what it's doing. You're just climbing the sprocket. And when you get to balance point, if you're just doing power wheelies, you get to balance point and you don't know how to use that brake yet, that's when it just yeets out from underneath you. So don't do that. So what I'm going to do today is just go over kind of that rhythm: clutch, rev, dump. So the first thing you're going to do is slide back until you feel that bump in the back. Whether you have a big seat like this, or you have just a little hump right there, or you have a banana seat, it's got that little hump, just slide your butt back. That'll change the balance point a little bit, so it'll make it easier. It'll just float right up there. If you're sitting way up here, then all your weight is going to be on the front of the bike, and you don't want that. You want all your weight back here so that the front of the bike can come up easy. What you're going to do is you're going to clutch in, rev the bike, and then dump the clutch. And when you dump the clutch, it's going to obviously bring the front end up. At that point, when it scares you, let's say it's even 2 inches off the ground. If that scares you, which it will at the first, you won't get it all the way up at first. If you do, you're probably going to yeet it out because you've never done a wheelie before. So when it comes up and it scares you, you have to train your brain on this brake, on this foot brake. So as soon as it comes up, if you let off the throttle, it's going to smash down. Like, it's going to come down super hard. Probably going to blow some fork seals. It's just going to sound really bad. And this is probably what you'll do when you first start, because everybody does. But you're going to want to let off that throttle. But if you can stay constant in the throttle and tap this rear brake just a little bit, even if you're back farther than you ever intended to go, that rear brake will save you every time. If you let off and hit the brake, it's going to smash down real hard. So the key is, at first, just try to get them just a little bit off the ground. Just try to get that front wheel a little bit off the ground. And while you're staying in the throttle, tap that rear brake. And even if you stay in the throttle, that rear brake will push you back down. So clutch, rev, dump. When it comes up, you hit that brake. If it doesn't come up high enough, next time you do it, you give it more revs. Clutch, rev, dump. And eventually this will become kind of all one motion. You'll clutch, rev, dump. I always use the analogy of basketball. So if you've ever played basketball in high school or any level, when you do free throws, they tell you get your rhythm, whether that's dribbling the ball 3 times and then shooting, or dribble the ball 3 times, spin it, set, then shoot. You get this rhythm. The same thing on here. Get your rhythm. Clutch, rev, dump, brake. Clutch, rev, dump, brake. And you're going to do that like 1,000 times. When it comes up 2 inches, it's going to feel like it's straight up and down. I know. I was there a couple years ago. So that's basically the principle. So let's see if we can get a couple things going here. And you don't need any kind of special bike to do this. Obviously, if you have dirt bars, it kind of brings your arms up and squares you up a little bit. So that's a little better than having the lower bars. But as my buddy Jixer Bro knows, you can wheelie anything. So if you can learn these fundamentals and learn that foot brake, train your brain on that foot brake, because when you go into balance point, the first thing you're going to want to do is pull your feet off. Everybody pulls their feet off and tries to, your body says you're falling, so your brain says stand up, right? You need to retrain your brain just like you did in the car. When something happens in your car, you smash that brake. You need to retrain your brain on the bike, so that when you go back too far and it feels like you're going too far back on a bar stool, you hit that brake. You don't stand up. You don't pull your feet off. That brake will save you even if you're way past straight up and down. If you come up like this and you're way past it, you can still hit that brake and it'll still pull that inertia back down. So it'll bring your front end back down. The only other thing I will say is when it comes up, you're going to want to, a lot of people try to lean forward. They try to pull the bike to them like this. And you don't want to do that because then you're putting your weight over the front wheel and it's going to push the bike back down. So the best thing you can do is put your arms out and your elbows out. If you watch any stunt ride videos, you'll see that they put their elbows out. And that's to square them up on the bike. And also kind of lock your arms in that position so that when it comes up, you go back with the bike. Because it's going to come up and you're going to try to do this. And if you try to do this, then all your weight's going to be on the front of the bike and it's going to push it back down. So it's going to make it difficult to kind of stay there and to learn. Slide your butt back until you can feel that back bump. Clutch, rev, dump the clutch. And then when as it comes up, keep your arms straight and locked like that. All right, so let's try a couple. And I'm just going to take it up just a little bit. And like I said, of course, we're out here in Mexico, so we'll try second gear. First gear might be a little twitchy for you. I do first gear in the lot and second gear on the street. So clutch, rev, dump. And I'm not going to look at the gauges. Clutch, rev, dump. See? Just like that. So clutch, rev, dump, brake. So that time I stayed in the throttle, but I hit that brake. I tapped that rear brake, that foot brake. And that brought me back down even though I stayed in the throttle. And that's what you're going to want to learn. Because if you let off that throttle, all that power's gone and it's going to slam that front end back down. All right, let's try another one here. Second gear, clutch, rev, dump. I'm covering the brake with my foot, so my foot's up on top of the brake. If you're learning, stay away from traffic. Clutch, rev, dump. Now that time I didn't touch the brake. That time I didn't touch the brake because I wasn't high enough. So I kept the throttle consistent. Clutch, rev, dump. Clutch. See? So next time, if I want to get it higher, I need to give it more gas. But right now I'm going to show you that again. So this is just a little bit of gas. This is an MT-07. It doesn't need any help. Clutch, rev, dump. And then just try to stay in that gas, because if it starts to go down and then you know it's going down, if you rev into it a little bit, it will cushion that fall. So let's do one a little higher this time. See that? That was no brake. Now this bike has a lot of engine brake. So if you have an FZ or an MT, it has a lot of engine brake, so you don't need to use that at all. You don't need to use that foot brake at all. So let's try that again. Clutch, rev, dump. See, and that's how you're going to learn. Just kind of let it carry out a little bit. All right, let's do one more. This one I'm going to go a little higher and maybe use the brake. See, that's what you want to do though. You want to, this is learning, you know. You're not going straight to balance point. There are some videos out there where some OG stunners will tell you, you know, oh, go straight to balance point. That's the only way to learn. I have never really agreed with that. That's not how I learned. When I started learning, by the time I actually got to balance point, I was going 60 miles an hour, which I don't recommend. Keep this slow. Keep this super slow. First gear in the lot, second gear on the street, nice and slow. If it doesn't come up, you need to rev it more. Like, just rev the piss out of it. And the other thing that I'll say, kind of like the basketball theory, is my, or kind of like the basketball analogy, is my, oh, here comes the cows. They think I got food. My other analogy that I use is the PlayStation or the Xbox analogy. These big bikes like this, they don't need you to pull up on it. You know, you don't have to pull up on this at all. You know, if you're playing a game, right, Xbox, PlayStation, you're just doing this. You're not moving your body, you're not pulling. Use the controls. Let the bike do the work. If it doesn't come up, rev it more. Okay, that initial rev before you dump that clutch, just rev it more. And that's why I say I don't look at the gauges. Don't look at the gauges. There goes Half Horse. I think he's been in all 3 of my vlogs so far since we've been doing these new ones. That's great. But yeah, I mean, if it doesn't come up, Just rev it more. I don't look at the gauges, I feel the bike. Feel the bike out. My F4, I didn't run gauges for 5 or 6 years. I just didn't have gauges. Let's try this again. We'll turn around. Since this is like the best part of this road here. There's some more up here, and yeah. Let's turn around here and get a nice little shot. Alright, first gear, second gear. Slide my butt back, clutch, rev, dump. I already have my foot over the brake so that I'm ready on the brake. So if it goes too far back, I'm going to hit that brake. See? Carry it out, more gas. Alright, that's how you're going to learn. That right there. And then as you learn, as you get comfortable here, it's going to scare you here. Learn that brake. And then after you learn the brake, you're gonna go clutch, rev, dump, brake 1,000 times. Just 1,000 times. Brake. See that? Brake. Even though I stayed in the throttle, I hit the brake a little bit and it brings me back down. That's what you're gonna wanna do every time. And just learn that brake so that when it's up at 12 and it's scared, it comes into balance point, like I said, it's gonna feel like you went too far back on a bar stool. When it does that, you hit that brake, because that's when your body's going to want to stand up. But if you've trained your brain to hit that brake, then that's what you'll do instinctively. You'll hit that brake, and that brake will save you every time. All right, let's do it again. Clutch, rev, dump. I'm on the brake. Brake. You see how that time I was a little bit higher? I hit the brake, I stayed in the throttle, I hit the brake, and that throttle let me come down nice and easy. If I would have let off right there, it would have slammed the front end down. If you came out to the lot and said, hey, what's your tips? That's my tips. Slide your butt back, clutch, rev, dump, learn that brake, and keep your arms straight and locked like that. Boom, hit the brake, comes back down. Did not let off the gas at all. Did not let off the throttle. So then once you get to where you're consistent and you got that brake, you just ride them out a little longer, go a little higher. Once you get to balance point, it'll stay there. And hit the brake. You see that? I hit the brake and then I gassed into it a little bit. I rolled into the throttle a little bit, so that the brake brought us back down, so we started to come back down, and then I throttled into it to kind of cushion the fall. Alright, let's give it another turnaround and then we'll go down the street here a little bit. And yeah, I mean, once you get used to all that, ain't nothing to it but to do it.
Ain't nothing to it but to do it.
Then you can kind of control your throttle. Once you learn your bike, it'll be so much easier. And it's kind of hard to see and sit down, so when you're learning, you definitely want to be somewhere where there's no traffic, somewhere where you're comfortable and you know kind of the area. And then you just kind of move your weight around to steer it. But I'm not even rocking back at all. I'm barely in the balance point here. Got a fork seal leaking, and then gas, 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 and then that cushioned my fall. So I mean, that's pretty much it, guys. Clutch, rev, dump, repeat 2,000 times maybe. I've seen guys take years to learn, and I've seen guys take weeks to learn. So it's all a matter of how good your balance is, and like I said earlier, how big your balls are. Because a two inches off the ground, even when I first started wheeling, unloading the front suspension, I wasn't even having the wheel off the ground, and it was scaring me. So seriously, at first it's gonna be very scary, and you're gonna have to kind of ball up through that, right? How fast you learn depends on one thing and one thing only: how much seat time you get. The more seat time you get, the faster you will learn. And that goes with learning initially and then everything that comes after it. pretty much it. The only other thing that I will say is don't let other people tell you what to do next. Right? Like, you're gonna have to go at your pace. You're gonna have to learn at your pace, nobody else's. And don't get discouraged, because sometimes this shit takes a while to learn. Do not get discouraged, because if you're out there doing it, you're learning. Okay, sorry for the interruption, but I was on my way home and I thought of two other things that you should definitely keep in mind when you're learning how to wheelie. One is keep your eyes where you want to go, just like when you're riding. You know, you get into a curve and you look through the curve. Same thing. Your bike's still gonna go where you look. So if you're always looking down at the dash, you'll probably just keep putting it down and it won't stay up. So keep your eyes where you want them to go. Keep your eyes where the bike needs to go, and also react. When the bike does stuff, react to it. Don't anticipate it. Because when you anticipate it, you're going to be pushing it down all the time. So react to what the bike does. Don't anticipate what the bike is going to do. What you think the bike is going to do. So those are the two last little things, guys, and I'll get back to the video. And then someday we'll just carry them for miles. It took me forever to get my first 1 minute wheelie. I remember posting up reels that were like 52 seconds and I couldn't hold it for, you know, a minute. And now I just miles, man, just miles. I might do a video later about like stepping around and doing different tricks and learning stand-ups and you know, spreaders and stuff like that, but this video is just meant to kind of give you the initial tips. Like if you came out to the lot and had never been out there before, this is what I would tell you to do. Yeah, that's pretty much it, guys. That's how you do it. Those are the tips I would give you if you came out to the lot for the very first time. Slide your butt back, clutch, rev, dump. Do that 1,000 times. Hit that brake, keep those arms out, elbows out, arms straight, so that you lean back with the bike. And then, yeah, go at your pace. Don't let anybody tell you what to do. You know, there's a lot at risk here. There's a lot at stake, so do your thing. I did double back pegs for like a year and a half. Everybody in the stunt scene was, do seat standers, do seat standers. I wasn't ready yet, and then when I finally did get ready, yeah, they're a lot easier than double back peg. But that's an opinion thing. I get a lot of people that ask me what's the easiest wheelie to do, and guys, I can't answer that. That is an opinion thing. That is something that is gonna, whatever feels the best to you, that's what's gonna be the best. You know, that's what's gonna feel the easiest. That's what's gonna be the easiest for you. So figure out where you're comfortable. If it's, you know, the first thing I started learning was double back peg. Then I went to foot in the hole with a foot here, staggered. I think staggered actually was the first stand-up I ever did. I didn't really do too many sit-downs on the F4. I always know if someone's gonna get it or not, or if they have it or not. And the way you can tell that is that first crash. You will drop the bike. There's a difference between dropping the bike and crashing. You will drop the bike. Those who drop it and come back and try again, and if you drop it in the lot, or if you drop it, get back up and do it right now. Don't wait 20 minutes. Don't wait till tomorrow. Do it right then. Because if you wait, you're not going to get back on that thing. If you want it and you drop it, get back on it, do it again right then. All right, well, that's all I have for you today, guys. Thanks for tuning in. Like and subscribe, all that good stuff, and be safe out there. God bless. Peace. See you next time, y'all. Good luck. Go learn to wheelie.